everyone, Tina Hogan Grant here with my Cuppa A Natter that I like to do twice a month on a Monday. I like to bring authors into my home and we talk about books, writing, life as an author, and whatever comes tonight. And this evening I have the wonderful and funny, I'm going to say funny, Ivan Scott. How are you this evening?
I am good, Tina, and I tell you, it is great to be on with you again. I've missed you. I've seen some of your successes with your books coming up, and so it is just it's a joy and a privilege to be back with you. So, yep.
Well, thank you so much. The last time we spoke was about, what, 6 months ago?
About 6 months. Yeah, we were talking about the latest release that, and it's so funny how we talk about how time passes so quickly. This was like in notebooks and it was in Post-its and it was written on the back of, McDonald's bags. And now it's an actual book. So it's like, it's like, wow. So finally came through. So, yeah.
Yeah, because when the last time I spoke to you, we were talking about redheads in Tottenham.
Redheads in Tottenham. The soccer book. Yeah,
that's the one I have, and that's the one I read, and I loved it. I left you a review. Great. I really enjoyed it. It was a laugh out loud book in many places. I really enjoyed the sense of humor that you put behind it. Now, this book that we're going to talk about this evening is called Redheads and the Fountain Pen. That's your latest one.
That's the latest one. Yep.
That came out when?
That came out in October.
And we're already in January. Well, congratulations on the new release.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, I'm get a little misty-eyed just thinking about it. No, I had an itch and I was like, how am I going to pull this one off without looking really, really stupid? So yeah, there you go.
Now, all of the books, they're all based upon a redhead, correct?
That is correct. Yeah, my wife is a redhead and she's my muse. And so I tell you, Tina, it's like having free entertainment and free material for my books. So it's like silly things that she does, her quirks, some of the stories that we do, some of the silly things that happen and all that. She makes it easy for me to be an author. And as you know, and as we all know, it's not easy being an author. So thank goodness that she's here. But yeah, she's the inspiration. And like I said, I get a lot of my material and a lot of the situations from her.
I love that. So with the Redhead and the Fountain Pen, can you just give us a little background about the book without giving too much away? And then I want to say hello to some of our readers that have joined us. Did you get me? Ivan, can you hear me?
Sure. I did. Yeah. Okay. So the idea behind the Redhead and the Fountain Pen, so we'll put this back up here so you can see it. The idea was, and Tina, I was thinking about this, it's like we hear everything about people meeting on Instagram or Twitter, or actually, which is X now, Facebook. We talk about all these social media, things, and then also the dating sites like Tinder and Love. Well, actually, it's was it Match.com. And so I got to thinking, what would it be like if we went old school and you had two people that fell in love with each other just by their handwritten letters? Which would be so different. You don't know what the person looks like. You don't know what they sound like, anything. All you have is their words on paper. And so I thought, wouldn't that be a cool idea to bring two people together like that? So in the Redhead and the Fountain Pen, I'll give you just the brief on this. A man who leaves Atlanta and he goes to the North Georgia mountains to get away from kind of an adversity. It wasn't a tragedy or anything, but he had a career-changing move. So he goes to the mountains in Blue Ridge. He goes to a used bookstore, and his favorite book is The Great Gatsby by F. Scott Fitzgerald. So he goes to this used bookstore, and he finds a copy of it. And as he's thumbing through it and he's looking through the pages, an envelope drops out. And so he picks up the envelope and he reads it, and it's a Dear Jill letter because it's written by a woman who has been kind of scorned by her boyfriend. And the woman, her name is Catherine, and her dream is to play in the New York Philharmonic Orchestra. And so that's her dream. That's her passion. She's wanted to do that all of her life. And so the letter basically is a breakup letter. And she says to him, I'm sorry, this has to end. You've never supported me. You've made fun of me when I lost my audition and I didn't make it. You told me I was a silly dreamer and this was foolish and I was wasting my time. And so I've decided that it's best for us just to part. I'm going to follow my dreams. I'm going to follow my passion. And that's it for us. So that's what's in the letter. So the man who finds it, his name is Mark Dawson, and he's a high school softball coach. And so he goes to the Blue Ridge Mountain, and so that's why he's there. And so he decides to write her because he's kind of going through a bad time in his life. So he's like, well, we can kind of bond over this. So he writes her and he says, hey, I found your letter and a copy of The Great Gatsby. I'm sorry. I don't mean to be intrusive or anything, but I'm really sorry about this happening to you. And if you ever need somebody to talk to or somebody to just vent to, I'm here for you. So he sends the letter, and a couple weeks later, he gets a letter back from Catherine. And Catherine says, well, I appreciate that, but I would prefer it if you stayed out of my business. I lost my audition. I lost my boyfriend. My life is in the toilet right now. So I appreciate it if you just leave me in this matter alone. So it's like, okay. Yeah, okay. So that went really well. So foolish. So a couple weeks after that, he gets another letter from Catherine, and this one is more. She's kind of gotten over her grief, and so she writes back and she says, "I wanted to apologize for my previous letter. I appreciate you reaching out. I was in a bad state at the time that I wrote it, and hopefully we can still be friends." So to make a long story short, things progress with them, and it gets to a point where they're starting to have feelings for each other only by their letters to each other. Both of them are not on social media. They're not big social media fans. And so they agree, hey, let's just write letters and let's, help each other through our adversity. So they start to have feelings for each other. And I don't know, Tina, have you ever heard of a drunken dial when, an ex-boyfriend or somebody gets a little drunk and then calls his ex and all that kind of stuff?
Oh, yeah,
we have what's called a drunken rite. Yeah. So we have what's called a drunken rite. So Catherine gets a little tipsy, and so she writes to him and kind of, writes to him about her feelings for him and how, she's not anything, but she just feels so connected to him. Then he gets a letter the next day, basically saying from Catherine, I was a little drunk last night. Chance, did I send a letter to you, and all that? So basically he said, no, I never got a letter from you. Everything's fine, whatever, because he doesn't want to embarrass her. He doesn't want to make her feel bad or kind of, feel a little, freaked out. It's like, oh my God, I just conveyed all my feelings to this stranger. So let's fast forward a little bit. She has another audition with the New York Philharmonic. And so while Mark is coaching his softball team and they're in the playoffs and they're in a tournament and he's trying to coach them and give them all this inspiration, he's doing the same thing for Catherine. So it's kind of like he's doing double duty here. So he's keeping her spirits up, saying, hey, girl, you can do this. This is what you were meant to do. This is what you waited your whole life to do. And he's just pumping her up. So audition day comes, and he gets a letter back from her. And she says, I didn't make my audition. I got cut. And I'm so sorry for wasting your time. I feel bad about this. You put all this hope and this inspiration into me, and I let you down. And I just think it's just best for us just to stop our letters right now. We can't write anymore because I've wasted your time basically. And I'm so sorry I did this. And she has gotten a job with the Iceland Philharmonic Orchestra. So basically that was her plan. And he knew this as well. If she didn't make it in New York, she was going to go to Iceland because she has a friend there. And so she was going to play there. So not only does Mark lose his pen pal, but Catherine decides to leave the country. So I'm like, how am I going to get these two people together? So I'll just leave it at that. So let's just say he's in Atlanta, or actually, I'm sorry, North Georgia mountains. She's in Iceland. So we'll see what happens.
It sounds like a really cute story. You've got me intrigued. I do like it. It sounds really good. This is one I've not read, but I'm intrigued by it. I do want to just pause real quick and see who is joining us this evening. I'm going to go back to the top, but welcome everybody. I am again talking to Ivan Scott about his latest book, The Redhead and the Fountain Pen, which sounds really good. And I'm going to pop up some names, let you know who's joining us. We have Karen. She says hello. And then we have Virgie. I'm sure you know many of these people, Ivan. And we have Debbie and Karen Geeling. If you have any questions for Ivan, go ahead and pop them up in the comments. I will get to as many as I can. In fact, here is one from Karen. I'll just pop it up right now. She's asking, does your family read your books? Does your family read your books, Ivan?
Great question. I've got we have a 15-year-old and a 17-year-old, so they're not really into the rom-com/romance books yet. My wife does read my books, but she's more of a Lifetime channel slasher chick movies kind of thing. So the rom-com books, she'll read them, but unless there's like, somebody cheating on somebody or a murder or intrigue or a robbery or anything. So that's kind of where her cuppa is, as Tina would say.
Her cup of tea is, right? Her cup of tea. I like that. And
yeah.
Tara says hello. And then we have Debbie says she loves I miss handwritten letters. I do. I used to love receiving letters, writing letters, and like pen pals. I would miss the pen pals too. Did you ever have pen pals, Ivan, when you were in school? And then Elaine says this is a fantastic book. Who else do we have here?
I never did. Yeah, it was one of those things where I wish I had, because I think it would be so cool to have that kind of connection. But no, never did. And I would love to hear from people that did, because I'm sure it's just something so unique, especially in today's day to day.
Yeah, we had pen pals when I went to school in England, because it's mandatory to speak French. Like over here, they have Spanish classes. We had French classes. And I would have a pen pal in France. In fact, his name was Thierry. And I would write to him in French, and he'd have to write to me in English. And it was a way for us to practice our French and English. So I really enjoyed having a pen pal. And Debbie says that she had a pen pal for years too. Okay, Ivan, am I freezing or
Tina,
readers?
are you still there? Because I think you froze on me.
Okay, I am here. You got me, Ivan? One of us froze. Okay. Elaine says she thinks Ivan Scott is freezing. Readers, can you let me know who of us is freezing? I cannot tell on my end whether it's me or whether it's Scott, but I don't think.
Yeah, you're frozen. Yeah, you're frozen.
Am I frozen?
Okay. Oh, okay.
Okay. Ivan, someone's saying there's a response delay. It's Ivan. Ivan, it looks like you're freezing, hon.
Okay. Now you're unfrozen now. There we go.
Okay. I can see you fine. Ivan is freezing up. Okay. And there is a response delay.
No, it's Ivan. Okay. All right. You want me to go out and come back in?
Yeah, you can try that. Try that. Go out and come back in, and I also will get verification from our audience while I'm waiting for you if I'm freezing too. So leave and just come back in. If you get lost, go back to the link I sent you. Okay, Rita, sorry about this. That's what happens when you go live. While I'm talking alone, will you let me know if I am freezing at all? Because I'd like to know if it's both of us freezing, or if it's just Ivan's end, or if it's my end. It's kind of hard to know when we are both talking at the same time. While I'm waiting for Ivan, let me know if I'm coming in clear, if the audio is clear, or if I'm freezing at all. Okay, so Karen says I'm not freezing. Debbie says I'm clear. Tara says I'm clear. Okay, so then I'm assuming it's on Ivan end. Elaine says I'm not freezing. Okay, this is the joy of going live. All right, let me see if I can bring Ivan back on. There he is. You got me?
I gotcha.
Okay. You're still fuzzy on my end, but the readers are saying it's your end that's freezing up.
Okay.
Okay, so we'll just, and there's like a delay when I pop up a question.
Right.
And there's a delay for you to get it. Are you on your laptop or your phone? Just out of curiosity.
Laptop. I'm on my laptop. Yeah.
And that's what you used last time we chatted, right?
Yeah, and it was fine. Yeah. Gosh, I'm so sorry.
It's okay. That's the fun of going live, and that's the fun of technology. I mean, right now you're fine.
Yeah.
And we just go with it. We just work through it. It's one of the joys of going live. But what did you get? What I was saying about the pen pal I had in France when I was in school? Did you get that part?
Yes.
That was a lot of fun. That was
great. Yeah, I heard the tail end.
Yeah, that was a great way for me to practice my French and for him to practice his English. So, but I do miss handwritten notes. I really do. So this would be just a joy to read because of that. I mean, it's like Christmas cards are going away.
Yeah.
People don't send Christmas cards. Anything that's handwritten.
Yes.
Okay, I'm popping up some questions for you. Let's see. Okay, I'm putting this up from Elaine. I was not freezing on Instagram the other night when you had an interview. And then Lee could say right now we are both fine.
Okay.
So, and then right here, Ivan said you're good. Okay, so we're just going to keep on, Ivan. This happens. It's what happens when we're live. But back to your book, which I'm excited to read. Again, most of your stories are inspired by your wife, which I absolutely love. Does she read all your books?
She does, but they're not really back to what we were saying. It's not her cuppa, because she's more into the Lifetime movies, like the robberies or cheating spouses or murders or any that kind of thing. So unless my book had some of that in there, I think she'll read it because she's my wife and she's my inspiration. So I think she feels like she has to read it. But if they were more like towards the Lifetime movies, then I think she would read. She'd read them more.
That's awesome, though. But how does she feel that all of your books are inspired by her? I mean,
she's very, very flattered, very flattered. And the neat thing, Tina, about that I told her, I said, one day, heaven forbid, if I were to go before she does, she'd have my books with her, because then it's like, this is a little bit of me that it'd be kind of like I was there with her, even though I had passed on and gone to the next life. So it's kind of something, it's kind of like a present to her, in a sense that if I, one of these days, as we grow older and that sort of thing, it would be kind of having a little piece of me with her, no matter where she went.
And all of these redhead books, they are romances?
They are romance and rom-com.
See, that's what I like, a man writing romances. I love that. I really do. And I think it's a great marketing tool for you. And I think I said that to you before. You've got to really, put yourself out there, a romantic guy selling romance books for women. I think it's awesome.
Yeah.
It's such a great tool.
Yeah. Well, Tina, what's funny about that, and I don't know if we talked about this before, but I think sometimes men, when people in the literary world say a man writing romance, they probably think he uses phrases like, her subtle breast, and he, pinched her, or he held her heart-shaped butt and all this. And it's like, oh, I kind of wince when that. It's like, no, they're like Hallmark Channel romances. So I don't go into any of the, the sexist things. And the other thing that, and we probably talked about this before, is that I try to write, and I do write, with promoting the women and the strength that they have and the things that they go through in this kind of male-dominated world. It's like some of the stuff that even my wife goes through. I'm like, oh my God, you have the strength of 1,000 people, the strength of Hercules, if you want to put it that way. And so I try to make the female character strong. And even the book that I'm working on now, where you have two people that have careers and they can't continue to be together because of their careers. I wrote it so the woman does not have to give up her career, because I think you see that a lot where the woman gives everything up to be with the man. And it's like, I don't feel like that. I feel like the woman should have her career and she should have the things that she loves. Man sometimes should make the sacrifice. So I think that's something that I keep in the back of my head. And hopefully, when the literary community sees Ivan Scott on the books, they won't think, oh, here's another man trying to write romance and he's going to, be sexist and all that. So hopefully it's a breath of fresh air.
Yeah, it sounds like you respect women, you empower women, and you lift them up. What it sounds like, and
Yep.
that's what
I try.
Yeah, I absolutely love that. Now, how many of the redhead books are there?
Okay, we have 6, and it's not a series. They're all 6 individual stories and 6 individual heroines or protagonists, if you want to put it that way. So, but yeah, we're up to 6, and a 7th hopefully coming in the spring.
You're being prolific right now. You're getting one out like what, every 6 months?
Yeah. And it's funny, Tina, you could probably allude to this too, but it's writing for me is like a drug. It's like if I go a day without writing, it's like, wow, I kind of feel bad. I kind of feel like, it's like an exercise high when a runner doesn't get to go out and run during the day and they have that feeling, that guilt feeling. I kind of get that when I don't write. So it's just something I like to do.
Yeah, I love to do it too. And I do get frustrated and even sometimes angry if I don't write one day. And I've been complaining sometimes to my readers lately that my writing is being totally off track for a number of reasons, with the holidays, with the new puppy, and losing my dog a couple of weeks ago. It's just like something's been happening like every week that just prevents me from getting my writing goals in. But now things are starting to smooth out. But it just gets frustrating. And I feel like I'm behind on my next book. My last book came out in August of 2024.
Yeah, I've been there before.
Yeah. And it's like,
and you have that guilt.
Yeah. Yeah, you do. But, I just keep pushing through it. And I'm trying not to be too hard on myself. But I wish I was more along in this book than I am. But, things happen in life and that's all we can do. Just, keep going forward. But congratulations on your 6. Now, the 7th one, do you have a title for that one?
Yeah. Well, no, the funny thing is that you just have to look at it and say, you know what, I didn't write today, but I'm going to write twice as much tomorrow. And you can't be too hard on yourself because we all go through some difficult times. And it's not like going to the grocery store and it's not like taking out the trash. It's like you have to be creative. I mean, I could write sentences, you could write sentences and they could go nowhere, but you have to have that flair. You have to have that thing that reaches inside the reader and kind of grasps their heart, and that doesn't come every day. Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. But if it doesn't, then just got to say, you know what, it'll be there tomorrow.
Exactly. Now, when you write your books, all the books, do you plot them? Or are you, do you just let the characters speak to you? Are you a pantser? Are you a plotter or are you a pantser when it comes to writing your books?
Yeah, great question, Tina. I love this. Yeah, I'm a total pantster. Because we've talked about this before, and I don't know if I'm sure some of the people that are on the podcast know this, but I'm dyslexic. And so with me, I have the story in my head, but I have to write it out in notebooks. And then I'll take the notebook and I'll transfer it to the laptop, which takes forever. But what I found is that in Google Docs now, there is a voice to text feature. And so what I'll do is I'll write it out and it saves me so much time that I just speak it and then it'll put it into a Google Doc. And it's not 100% perfect, but it's much better than having to type it out from the notebook because it takes so long to do that. But the way, then going back to the dyslexic thing, I have to be able to scratch through lines. I have to be able to write stuff on the margins. I have to be able to write in different colors. I have to be able to take a highlighter and say, okay, now this one, this is this character, so I'm going to highlight it in blue. This one I have to have it in orange, and so on, because that's just the way that my mind is wired to do it that way. I have to see colors, and I have to kind of feel like I'm not in a box. And I feel like if I type it into the laptop, all at once, I kind of feel like, oh my God, it's like this, and it's kind of closing in on me. So I have to have notebooks and be able to handwrite them out. And I think you've seen on my Facebook page, I made a post last week where I had, you know, some of the pages that I've been writing with little post-its and stuff. And it was like, okay, here's the final draft. You know, now, you know, I have to go back in. I'm a total pantser. I've got the story in my head, and then I'll write it out, and then I'll, you know, take it from, okay, well, you know what? I think she needs to go here at this time because of this. And if I was plotting it, you know, and this is nothing against plotters. I respect that. And sometimes I wish I could plot out my books, but I have to do it on the fly just because that's the way my brain is wired.
That's how I am too. I can't plot a book. There's no way. If I tried to plot a book, the characters just tell me no. I would never do that. So I just let them tell me. This is how it is. And when it comes to your books, do you know how they're going to end, or is that also a surprise? Okay, there is a delay in you hearing me. Did you get that, Ivan?
Yeah, there's a delay. Yeah, could you repeat that?
Yeah, when it comes to writing your book, you said you're a pantser, but do you even know how they're going to end, or is that also a surprise?
Yeah, you know what? Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. It can be a surprise to me sometimes. As a matter of fact, in the book that I'm working on now, I wasn't sure how the ending was gonna go, because I had two people that their careers were going, and it's like, okay, well, how am I going to get them together, or are they not going to get together? You know, that kind of thing.
Right.
So it took a little while, but I didn't have it in my mind. I had to work it out. And it's so funny what you were saying about your characters. My characters speak to me too. And so I kind of feel like when I'm writing in my notebooks, I'll look and they're like looking back at me like, Ivan, what are you doing? You're driving me crazy here. Come on. I need to be, you know, I need to be here. You need to put me with this person. You know, we need to go to this place. So yeah, but to me, my characters are real. But yeah, there's a lot of times that it's just a big question mark.
Yeah. And that's what I like about, I mean, when I write I don't write a lot of standalones. In fact, I've only written one, which is my last book, A Secret's Told. All of my books have been series because the characters always have more to say. So I just continue on with the series. But this series I'm doing now, they're standalones, just like you. It's like a series, but they're all redhead books. Mine are going to be all secret books. So it's kind of strange for me to write a standalone and not have the characters continue talking. It's very new to me, but you know, I like it. I do. I do. Whether or not any of these books will be a series, I don't know yet. We'll see. But as of now, the standalones, they are. Now
that's the beauty of it.
Yeah. Yeah. The book that just came out, the Redhead and the Fountain Pen. Where did this take place?
Oh, I'm sorry. When did it take place?
Where does the book take place?
Oh, where the North Georgia mountains is where Mark is, and Catherine is in New York City. And I wrote it first person, so it kind of reads like a diary, because that was the other thing, because I was thinking, wouldn't it be cool if you could find somebody's old diary, like maybe from the 40s or 50s, and then just follow their days and the people that they meet and the emotions that they have. And so it kind of reads a little bit like a diary.
Okay. Can I ask why you chose those two locations? Or did the characters tell you it was those locations?
I kind of helped them a little bit, but Mark was happy with being in the North Georgia mountains because it's so pretty up there, especially in autumn when the leaves change. So he kind of was like, you know what, can you send me up there? And I was like, okay, fine.
Okay. And did you have to do a lot of research for the two areas, or do you know them pretty well?
Yeah, it's funny, the North Georgia mountains, when I was working on the book, I knew a little bit about it, but then we went up for a weekend with the kids when they were on fall break. So I got to be in the small towns and kind of get an idea of what it was all about to actually be there. And in New York, where Catherine is, I've been to New York a few times, and so I remembered some of the places that I was like, that would be cool for a location, and that would be cool if she was here. But I did have to do some more research on New York. But then Iceland, obviously, I've not been to, so I had to do a ton of research on Iceland. So, and that was a lot of fun.
Yeah, because that's what with me when I write my books. I love going to these new places and just learning so much. And I'm hoping what I learned, the readers get joy out of it too. So that alone would be fascinating with your book, learning about Iceland, because I've never been there, but it's a fascinating place. It really
Yeah.
is. And the next
Yeah.
book, did you say you had a title for it?
I'm not sure yet. Right now, the working title is The Redhead and the Frozen Four. And the story behind the Frozen Four
Four,
is
and the number
it's a
4?
hockey romance. And
Oh, okay.
the Frozen Four,
FO, the number.
it's a hockey romance. So yeah, so that's why. So it's it
Okay.
takes place at Dartmouth College, and it centers on a redheaded hockey coach at Dartmouth. And so it's kind of a romance, enemies to lovers romance, where the hockey coach and the new athletic director years before, and then he left, and it was kind of a misunderstanding where he had feelings for her, and she was kind of tied up in her career, and then she realized, oh my God, I love this man, but he's already gone. Well, he comes back to Dartmouth, and he's the new athletic director, like I said, and so they have to figure out a way to work together, and their relationship at the beginning is a little contentious. So eventually, and no pun intended, but the ice kind of thaws between them, and they start to work together and all that. But again, with their careers in a college setting, you can't have a manager and a subordinate having a romantic relationship. A lot of schools frown upon that, and it's against regulations. So I got to figure out, okay, wait a minute, how am I going to get these two together if he's the athletic director and she's the hockey coach?
Right.
So there's a couple of things where the president of the university is an old rival of hers. And in the book, you realize why. But it's like she wants to fire her, so it's like, okay, well, she's going to get fired. He's going to be the athletic director, so this will work out perfect. And then back to what we were talking about, it's like, no, I don't want her to lose her job. I want her to have her career. So it's like when I realized that, it's like, okay, well, now how am I going to get them together? So anyway, I'll leave it at that. So
that's one of the challenges you're facing. You'll conquer it. You'll conquer it. There's a couple of questions I want to put up here. One is, do you travel for research? That is from Belinda.
I don't, but yeah, thank you for the question, Belinda. I appreciate that. I don't. I wish I did, because I've got a full-time job and 2 teenagers in high school. So I don't get to travel as much as I would like to. So, but some of the places that I have been to, I've used as locations in the book. So I do have kind of an idea of what the location is about, what it smells like, what the traffic is like, the people. Like, for instance, I've never been to Iceland, but I had assumed, and in some of the research that I did, is some people do speak English, some people speak Icelandic, and so I had to do some research on that just to kind of get a feel for, okay, if I was in Iceland, what would it look like? What would it feel like? So yeah. But yeah, cool. To answer your question, yeah, I wish I did.
Okay, and then she has another question. Belinda does, do you have animal characters in your books?
Oh, I don't, and I really should, because I'm a huge dog person. I should have a big golden retriever in my next book. So thank you for mentioning that, Belinda.
Oh, really?
I did. Yeah.
Do you have a name for the dog?
I would call it probably Sparky, because that was our old golden retrievers. First was Sparky.
Perfect.
And the funny thing is, and you guys are going to think I'm crazy when I say this, but the golden retrievers that we had were auburn color. They were red colors. So basically, as much as I write about redheads and have a redheaded wife, we used to have a redhead dog. The dog was a redhead. So I just can't get away from this redhead theme. So.
No, that's it. That is it. Lori is asking, wait, it was here a minute ago. Hold on a second. I'm getting there, Lori. There it is. You're a busy author, but that was not the question. Oh, here we go. What's your favorite book that you've written so far?
Wow, that's Lori, great.
Your favorite baby, your favorite child.
Yeah, wow. You put me on the spot here. Whoa, Lori, you got me good. Well, okay. It's funny because I have all of my books wanted to come to the event. So I have them all here. So I have to say, this one's my favorite. oh, no. I didn't say anything. No, you guys are still my favorites here, but
which one's that?
The Redhead Who Loves Hemingway. That's my favorite.
Which one was it?
That's the Redhead Who Loves Hemingway.
Oh, Who Loves Hemingway. See, I've not read that one.
I don't think you've read that one yet.
No, I've only read the one.
The reason why that's my the Tottenham one. Yes.
Yeah. That's the one I've read.
Laurie. Yeah. So in deference to my other books who have their feelings hurt right now, The Redhead Who Loves Hemingway is my favorite. And the reason why is it's probably of all my books, probably the most 100% rom-com-ish. There's not really any adversity. Nobody is coming off of a broken heart or a death in a relationship, that kind of thing. It was just a fun book to write. And the female character, Darcy Davenport, is the female character. And just to give you the quick on this, Tina, in The Redhead Who Loves Hemingway, a professor from East Tennessee State University goes to New York for this Hemingway conference, and he's supposed to bring a first copy of Hemingway's book, The Sun Also Rises. And he's supposed to bring it back. It was on loan to him, and so he's supposed to bring it back when he meets Darcy. And so Darcy's like, "Oh my God, this is my fault. I'm so sorry. Let's find it." So they have 48 hours. They have the whole weekend to find the book before he's supposed to turn it over. So it's just one madcap adventure after the other. They get chased by the police. They get chased by the mafia. They do death-defying acts. They jump out of buildings. There's high-speed chases. It was just a fun book to write from beginning to end. So I think of all my books, that one's probably my favorite.
Do you have any idea how many Redhead books you're going to be writing, or are you just going to keep writing until you have no more ideas? I guess.
Yeah, I guess.
Do you have a goal?
No. It's just until I guess my hand until this can, as long as I can keep that going, I guess I'll be okay.
And they'll be all around the theme of redheads. All your books, pretty much.
Yeah, I've thought about that, and even my wife, her name is Kim, but her nickname is Red, so that's why I always say, "Hey, Red, how's it going?" Or those kind of things. And so Red's always asked me, she's like, "Well, are you going to keep writing about redheads?" And I thought about it, and it's like, and this is in no way, shape, or form a dig on brunettes or blondes. I love you all, trust me, I do. I mean, women are fascinating to me, no matter what color their hair is. So nothing against that, but I don't know. There's just something about the redheads and the characters and the situations that they get into. That's I don't know. It's just something I like to write about, I guess.
Yeah, well, plus
you're
married,
I love you all though.
You're married to a redhead. You share your life with a redhead, so why not write about them? I would,
Yeah,
so,
exactly.
Okay, you said you're going to do a reading. We're going to do the reading, but hopefully you don't freeze. Let's hope you don't freeze.
Okay.
But do your reading. I'm looking forward to hearing it. And this is from your latest book, correct? The Redhead and the Fountain Pen?
Yeah, this is from the latest book, The Redhead and the Fountain Pen. Real quick, the title of the book comes because both of the Mark and Catherine write their letters to each other with a fountain pen, which is their favorite pen. So that's why The Redhead and the Fountain Pen. So.
Okay, got it. Perfect.
And Belinda, love that your sister-in-law is redheaded and we call her Red too. Love that.
There you
go. Okay. So what happens is Mark goes to Iceland, and I'm letting the cat out of the bag a little bit. He goes to Iceland to find Catherine. And the book that he finds in the used bookstore to start all this off happens to be her father's book that he gave to her before he passed away. So it's very sentimental. So when Catherine sends him this last letter, she says, we can't write anymore. This is over, and so on. He's brokenhearted and he's very hurt. But then he looks at the book and he says, you know what? No matter how badly she's broken my heart, I told her I would bring her father's book back to her. So he gets on a plane to Iceland to bring the book back. So he finds her, and he said, and so they're standing across from each other. And when he finally realizes it's her, this is where it starts. Her eyes softened. She replied, "I forgot the words in French." Then she shook her head. "You're Mark from Blue Ridge." Our eyes locked on each other in a mystical dance. I saw inside her soul the fear, the guilt, the passion, and all the good. I saw the things I loved about her and the things I came to depend on when I was in trouble. After all this time, I was standing across from the woman who dazzled me with her words, who made me fall in love with everything about her, even though this is the first time we've ever met. "What are you doing here?" she asked as her face remained blank. Her words weren't exactly what I hoped for, so it took a moment to absorb the blow. I swallowed hard and then went numb to ignore the pain so I could focus, knowing I had only a minute to speak my piece. Whatever I was about to say, I had better make it memorable. "I'm here since I made a promise, and I'm a man of my word." She shook her head. "Promise? What promise?" I reached into my coat and pulled out her book. "This is for you." Catherine gave me a puzzled look, then looked down at the wrapping. "What's this?" "I know it's not Christmas yet, but," I said as my words trailed off. Finally, I told her, "Actually, that's not a Christmas present." She took the package from my hand, looked it over, then pulled the ribbon out of its bow. She unwrapped it, and when she saw it was her book, she gasped, then covered her mouth. Tears formed in her eyes, and as she held the book to her chest, she said, "Oh my God, you remembered." My eyebrows rose. Yes, I did. I thought I'd never see it again. "Well, they say Christmas is a time for miracles." I gave her a half-hearted smile and added, "I didn't want to be the last guy, so I wanted to make sure your father's book got back to you." Catherine looked at the book, then at me. "Thank you for doing this, Mark." She got quiet and looked at the floor. An uneasy silence hovered over us. That was my cue. She had her music and finally her book. There was nothing more she needed from me. Now it was time for me to leave her alone. The game was over. I lost to an all-powerful foe who didn't walk, talk, or write beautiful words. I lost to a passion, and that's a game you can never win. Where there is passion, nothing can change what lies in the heart. I felt foolish for even trying. Well, that's the reason I came here. I wish you the best with your career. I'm sure the Iceland Symphony Orchestra has the best viola player in the world now. Congratulations, Catherine. One day you'll change the world with your music. Catherine continued looking at the floor, then her eyes found mine. Thank you for the words. How long are you in town for? I'm going back to the airport now. I have a late flight back to Atlanta. Her face gave away nothing as she stared at me. I gave her a questionable smile. Well, I better get going. God bless you, Catherine. Merry Christmas. I nodded and then turned to walk away. As I walked, I didn't hear her say stop or my name, so I continued walking until I reached the door. After pushing it open and received a frosty rush of air greeting me, I continued down the stairs. Funny, I didn't button my coat or put my hands in my pockets. I was too numb to feel anything. The landscape greeted me in complete darkness. The azure sky was now navy, with blinking lights hovering over everything. I smelled the fireplace and heard the crunching of snow under my feet. Funny the things you notice when you want to forget the previous few minutes of your life. As I stepped down the icy stairs, a razor wind caught me flush in the face. The numbness intensified, but there was nothing the outside could throw at me that was colder than the frozen days I became. I was a dead man walking. And I'll just leave it at that. Just to see, are they going to get together or not? So hopefully I kept everybody a little intrigued.
You did. I want to pop up some comments. Elaine Sapp, she's a big fan of yours. She says, I do love this book. And she also says, I'll be reading this book again in September. I love my copy. Thank you, author Ivan Scott. And then we have Debbie says, cannot wait to read this. There you go. Now, this book is available.
Thank you, Elaine. That is so sweet.
Isn't that cool? Your books are available. Okay, we got some more comments coming up. Let me put these up. Virgie says, great read. Lori says, I enjoyed your reading. Lisa says, wow, I love it already. Thank you so much for reading. One more. Tara says, awesome reading. Okay, your books. All right, they keep coming up. Hold on. Here's another one. Sounds good. And one more. I want to read this. So I love it when authors read their work.
Oh,
I
thank
really
you.
do. Your books. Where can
Yeah.
readers find your books?
Okay. You can find them on Amazon and barnesandnoble.com.
And
and also my website. If you want to leave me a message or contact me or anything, my website is ivanscottbooks.com.
Okay, and the ebooks, are they wide or are they on Kindle Unlimited? Okay, we have a delay again, don't we? You got that, Ivan?
Yes, there are ebooks as well. So it's yeah, the Kindle and paper. Yeah, Kindle, paperback, and hardback. Yep. So on Amazon, you can get the ebook as well.
Okay, and Kindle Unlimited also?
Yes.
Okay, you are freezing up really bad right now, Ivan. The same, we lost Ivan, and yes, there is a delay on Ivan's side. But your reading was good.
Okay.
We got you before that happened, so we're hanging in there. We'll get right. Got a lot of technology. I mean, it drives me nuts sometimes, but there's nothing we can do about it. We just got to push through it. My next question was with your characters and your characters' names. How do you come up with the names? And I know a reader asked the question earlier in the chat. I just didn't get to it. So when it comes to your characters' names, how do you come up with those names? And are they based on anybody you know besides your wife?
Yeah. That's a good question. Sometimes it's just a feeling. I know that with it's the first character in my first book, the redhead in a blue convertible, and actually, Tina, you would appreciate this. She is from London, and she's a surgeon, a heart surgeon, and so I thought Sarah was a perfect name for her because to me it's kind of an English name and all that, so I came up with that. But a lot of times it's just feeling. It's like I get an idea of a character in my head. This is what she's going to be like. This is her personality. What name would fit with that personality? With the redhead who loves him, character that is just lives by the seat of her pants. Nothing gets her down. She always has a smile on her face. She never gives up. She's always, she's like the truest best friend you'd ever have. So I thought, well, Darcy would be kind of cool because Darcy's kind of got that name, that kind of thing. And so I think it just depends on the character and the storyline.
Okay. And out of your 6 books, you already told us which is your favorite. You whispered it to us. But which out of the 6 books, did you find one that was maybe the hardest one to write? Was there one that was more difficult to write than the others? Being a pantster, but you still had like one that was harder to write than the others?
Yeah. I think the first book was, and for a couple of reasons. The first book, I think anything that you try the first time is going to be a little difficult because you're kind of getting your feet wet and you're seeing, okay, this was a tough way to do it, but I think I can do it easier this way. And so you kind of get an idea. But as far as the story goes, in the first book, that one is more of a romance than a rom-com because Sarah, the heart surgeon's work is in an operation with a patient, and he dies on the table. And so I had to research, what all that would entail. And fortunately, my sister is in the medical field. And so she was saying, okay, bradycardia is this. And then if this happens, this is what the doctor would do, and so on. So that one was very difficult because I had to make sure to get that whole scene correct from a technical standpoint, because I wouldn't want somebody to come back and say, you totally, this wouldn't happen in an operating room. And I feel it's a responsibility for the author to get his facts straight and to make sure that everything is factually correct. Because if a reader is going to spend their money and they're going to spend their time with you reading your books, it's like that's the least you could do, is to make sure that everything is correct and not shortchange them. And so I think that was probably the toughest one that I've had so far.
Okay. When you talk about getting your facts and you're talking about how you studied Iceland, did you ever use Google Earth? I love Google Earth when I'm researching an area book. Did you find that one of your best friends when you were researching areas? I mean, you can zoom right in. Yeah, zoom right in and get directions from A to B in the town, and okay, this works. And I used it a lot in the last book.
Love Google Earth. Love it.
I do. I mean, we're spoiled nowadays with the internet as far as our research goes. You know, back in the day with my dad, who was a writer in the 70s and 80s and the 90s, but he had to fly when he did research. He had to go to these destinations. There was no internet. There was no Google Earth. Yeah, you know, but it was a tax write-off too. So, you know, so that was good too. Let me see. Hold on one second. Now you say that.
There you go. It's so funny you mentioned. Yeah.
Okay, I'm losing you again. Okay, we're gonna push through this, Ivan. Come on back. If you can hear me, I wanted to ask you. I know you have a full-time
I was going to say on the Google Earth, it's kind of like you're there. I mean, I know that sounds silly when I say that, but you know, I want to be able to, like in Iceland. Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, I'm trying. Am I back now?
Yeah, you're back, but it's a big delay. Now he's frozen again. I think we lost Ivan. Okay, you got me, Ivan?
Yeah. Yeah.
You're freezing really bad. I know. We you know, it's really sad.
Okay, I can hear you now.
You know,
Can you hear me now?
I can, but there's such a huge delay. I think I asked you 2 or 3 questions. You didn't get them.
Oh, okay. I'm gonna leave and come. Yeah, I'm gonna leave and come back.
Okay, well, I'm thinking we're gonna wrap it up. It's almost on the hour.
Okay.
Because your reception is really, really bad, and it's. I mean, you can try for 5 minutes. We can try and see if your connection comes back on. If you want to do that, you want to go back out and come back in.
Yeah.
All right, go ahead. All right, we're gonna try this for the next 5 minutes. See if his reception gets any better. We do want to talk about the giveaway and his final question. So thanks for hanging on with us. Let me see if I can bring him back on, and his connection might be better. Hold on one second. Hey, there he is.
There we go. Hopefully I'm not frozen again. And it's 18 degrees here in Atlanta tonight, so maybe that's what the problem is. It's freezing in Atlanta, so maybe it's freezing in here too.
It's probably the internet is frozen where you're at. What? 18 degrees? 18 degrees?
Yeah, we've got a cold spell coming.
Oh, then the internet's frozen. No wonder it keeps freezing. See? It's freezing.
There you go.
Okay. Now it makes sense. All right, Ivan. Before we do end this chat, though, I do want to ask you a final question, and then we're going to talk about the giveaway. My final question, and I might have asked this to you in the last chat, but the one piece of advice you would give to an aspiring writer that would like to become published like yourself, what would you tell them?
Have courage and persistence. It's not an easy field. That's why I ended up self-publishing, because I've knocked my head against the wall trying to go to the traditional route. So it's one of those where you get to a point where you say, you know what, I have a good story. I'm a good writer. I'm going to leave words for the world that will be there long after I'm gone. But you just have to keep that in your heart, that you're not going to allow anybody else to dictate what you can and can't do. If you can't go traditional, then go self-publishing. But there are so many ways to get your books out there. So the biggest thing is, don't ever give up. Know that you have it. You have the talent to do it. You have it in your heart, and your story is going to be well received by the world one day, and maybe it's going to change some lives. So just keep that in the back of your mind, and then just keep writing. That's the easiest thing to do. It's like Hemingway once said, write the truest sentence that you know, and then you just go forward from there.
Great advice. I love that. And I hope authors out there that are struggling, listen to it and take it to heart. Great advice. Ivan, you said you're going to be doing a giveaway. I appreciate that. And could you tell our readers what the giveaway is?
Okay. We're going to give away this copy of The Redhead and the Fountain Pen. So this is what we're going to give away.
And that's going to be fun. Are you going to sign it, or is it going to be through Amazon?
What I'm going to do is I'm going to send it through Amazon, but then also I'm going to send a little placard with a autograph on it and a little message on it. And that
Okay,
way
the
you can
book,
put it in the book. Yeah.
the
So that
book.
way the book will get to you quicker.
Perfect. Okay, well, thank you so much for that. And I'm going to do my regular giveaway, which is the $5 Amazon gift card. If you could share this from my author page and share it to all your favorite places, your favorite book groups, on your own personal page, Instagram, wherever you want to share it, but do tag me so I know that you shared it, and you will be in the drawing for a $5 Amazon gift card. Ivan, even through the technical difficulties, I've had a lot of fun talking to you. I always do. I appreciate you coming, but that's just what happens with live. If you want to come back, we can try another day when it's not so freezing in Atlanta, and maybe your internet's a better connection. But I'll hand it over to you for the last few words.
Well, okay. Hopefully everybody can hear me and I don't freeze up, but I just want to tell you from the bottom of my heart, thank you so much for making time for me and Tina tonight. It means the world to me to know that you were interested in coming by and interested in my books and my story and my writing journey and all that. And hopefully we can become Facebook friends and stay in touch because I'd love to tell you about all the other books that I have coming out. And hopefully one day my books might make a difference in your life sometime, always for the better. So God bless everybody and peace be with you. And I look forward to going on this writing journey with all of you together.
Thank you so much, Ivan, for being with me. And thank you, readers, for joining us. I will be in the group later to announce the winners. Have a wonderful night, and I will see you back.